chosen ones. Have you ever stood in the silence after everyone walked away? You've watched friendships fade without explanation. Family members who promised to always be there have turned distant. The person you thought would never leave is gone. And suddenly you find yourself in a space that feels more like abandonment than solitude. It leaves you asking the hardest questions. Why am I alone? What did I do wrong? Has everyone forgotten me? But hear me clearly. Your isolation is not rejection. It is not evidence that you are unlovable. It is redirection. It is divine protection. It is God clearing the room so you can finally hear His voice above the noise. In today's message, I'm going to share 4 powerful truths about what happens when everyone leaves but God stays. If you understand these revelations, they will transform your loneliness from a wound into a weapon, from a curse into a calling. Let's begin. 1. God removes people to reveal Himself. The Bible tells us in Deuteronomy 31:6, "Be strong and courageous. Do not fear, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." When human presence fades, God's presence intensifies. This is not coincidence. This is divine strategy. God often orchestrates seasons where He strips away every distraction, every false support, every relationship that has become more important to you than He is. Think about the people who left. Some walked away without a word. Some drifted slowly. Some cut you off abruptly. And in each departure, you searched yourself for mistakes. But here's what you didn't see. God was protecting you from misplaced dependency. You were leaning on them more than you were leaning on Him. You were finding identity in their approval more than in His affirmation. And so God, in His mercy, removed the scaffolding so you could discover that the building still stands because He is the cornerstone. Moses understood this. Before God ever spoke to him through the burning bush, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. Exodus 3 tells us that Moses was alone, tending sheep in the middle of nowhere when God appeared. Not in Egypt's palace surrounded by influence, but in isolation where there were no voices competing for his attention. In that loneliness, Moses discovered that God doesn't just speak when you're alone. He speaks because you're alone. What felt like abandonment was actually preparation. What looked like everyone turning their backs was really God turning you toward Him. 2. Loneliness exposes what you truly worship. In Jeremiah 2:13, God says, "My people have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed out cisterns for themselves, broken cisterns that can hold no water." When everyone leaves, the cisterns you've been drinking from crack open. And suddenly you realize you've been trying to quench your thirst with human approval, constant companionship, and external validation. But those wells were always broken. Loneliness is not the problem. Loneliness is the revealer. It shows you what you've been depending on instead of God. When friends are available, you text them first instead of praying. When relationships are strong, you seek their counsel before seeking God's wisdom. But when they're gone, when the phone stops ringing and the invitations stop coming, you're forced to face the truth. Were you pursuing God because you loved Him, or because He came with a community package? David experienced this in the caves. Psalm 142:4 records his cry, "I look to the right and watch, but there is no one who takes notice of me. No refuge remains to me. No one cares for my soul." David was anointed king, yet hiding like a fugitive. Everyone who could help him was either absent or dangerous. And in that cave, with no one to turn to, David turned to God completely. His desperation became devotion. His isolation became intimacy. When God removes people, He's not punishing you. He's purifying your worship. 3. God stays when others leave to prove His faithfulness. Hebrews 13:5 promises, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." This is not poetic language. This is covenant truth. Every person who walks out of your life is proving that human love is conditional and limited. But God's presence in your loneliest season is proving that His love transcends all of that. He doesn't leave when you're no longer useful. He doesn't abandon you when your season changes. He stays. Some of you have been hurt so deeply by people leaving that you stopped believing anyone would stay. Betrayal became your expectation. Abandonment became your narrative. But God is using this season to rewrite that story. Not with words, but with His unwavering presence. Day after day, when you wake up and He's still there. Night after night, when you cry and He's still listening. His consistency is healing what their inconsistency broke. Job lost everything. His children, his wealth, his health. Job 19:13 says, "He has put my brothers far from me, and those who knew me are wholly estranged from me." Everyone left. But in Job 42, after the suffering, Job declares, "I had heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you." God stayed, and in staying, God revealed Himself in a way that comfort never could. When everyone leaves but God stays, you discover that one constant presence is greater than 1,000 temporary companions. 4. Isolation is your classroom, not your prison. Romans 5:3-4 tells us, "We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope." God is not wasting your loneliness. He is using it. Every moment you spend with only God as your companion is shaping you into someone who cannot be shaken by human absence. You are learning to stand when no one is cheering, to pray when no one is listening, to worship when no one is watching. Think about Jesus in the wilderness. Matthew 4 tells us the Spirit led Him into isolation for 40 days. No disciples, no crowds, just Jesus, the Father, and the enemy's temptations. And it was there, in hunger and solitude, that Jesus solidified His identity. When the devil tried to make Him prove Himself through external validation, Jesus responded from internal certainty. It is written. His time alone with God anchored Him so deeply that no temptation could move Him. You are in that wilderness now, and every day you choose God when no one else is around. You are building a faith that cannot be manipulated by approval or destroyed by rejection. Child of God, let me speak directly to your heart. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not too broken to love. The people who left were not your portion. They were your preparation. God removed them, not to empty your life, but to fill it with Himself. You are not abandoned. You are attended to. You are not alone. You are accompanied by the Creator of the universe. You are not in a wasteland. You are in a sanctuary. Sometimes what feels like rejection is really God's protection from relationships that would have limited you. Sometimes what feels like silence is really God speaking in ways you've never had space to hear before. Sometimes what feels like the end of connection is really the beginning of communion. And when the right people come, and they will come, you will not cling to them out of desperation, because God has already filled the deepest places of your soul. You will not lose yourself trying to keep them because you've found yourself in Him. Because when God becomes enough in your loneliness, people become a blessing in your life, not a necessity. So let this be your declaration. I am not alone because God is with me. Say it when the silence feels heavy. Write it when the hurt tries to return. Declare it until your spirit believes it. Beloved, your story is not ending in isolation. Your story is unfolding into intimacy with the God who created you, knows you, and will never leave you. And one day, you will look back on this season and realize it was not the time you lost everyone. It was the time you found everything. Because when everyone leaves but God stays, you discover that one is more than enough. Trust the process. Embrace the solitude. Lean into His presence. You are loved beyond measure. You are seen completely, and you are held eternally. God bless you.